This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, Te Anau tourism operators are hoping for a TransTasman bubble as they're feeling financial pressure. Cuisine from around the world collided in Invercargill at the weekend during the International Food Festival. And staff at the International Atmospheric Research Station at Lauder celebrate an important milestone. Kia ora, good evening. I'm Daryl Basin. With no magic wand to wave away tourism woes, Te Anau business operators are hoping for a TransTasman travel bubble. Last spring, local businesses noticed customer numbers were about half of what they would normally expect, with borders open to international tourists.
When will the overseas tourists be allowed to return? That's the question on many people's minds in tourist destinations such as Te Anau, on the borders of Fiordland National Park, with tourism ventures and accommodation providers struggling due to a lack of visitors.
That's really hard for us to plan. If we knew a date going forward, we would be able to increase staff, give our staff certainty going forward, and people would be able to hang on. Currently, it's really difficult for a lot of operators. There's already a number of shops and businesses up the main street have closed, and because there's no end in sight at this point.
The cafe Miles Better Pies has survived thanks to a local following of its food and coffee. Owner Paul Johnson wonders if the TransTasman travel bubble opens soon, whether it will be the wrong time of year for a lot of Te Anau businesses.
Most businesses in Te Anau are winding down, and that's the issue. And are they going to come 2 hours from Queenstown? I think Queenstown's going to benefit from the bubble because there's direct flights in there from Australia. The other issue is, will they come down an extra 2 hours if they're only going for the week?
And he worries that creating a TransTasman travel bubble may turn out to be a double-edged sword.
But the other flip side is that maybe all the Kiwis that were going to come here go to Australia. So it could be a 50-50 sort of, I don't know. It's a difficult one. No one knows the answer.
In the meantime, many Te Anau businesses are hanging on thanks to a renewed interest by New Zealanders in exploring their own backyard.
New Zealanders are supporting us incredibly well. We're really proud of how they're supporting us down here and absolutely loving their experience. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern said yesterday details of a possible travel bubble with Australia will be announced in 2 weeks' time. In Te Anau, The South Today.
A Dunedin woman and her pets had a lucky escape from a house fire in South Dunedin. The pensioner was cooking chips at her Fawcett Street home when her kitchen caught fire. She rushed outside and alerted a neighbour, then re-entered the smoke-filled house with another neighbour to rescue 2 cages of birds and her pet dog. Fire and Emergency New Zealand advise people should get out of a burning building and stay out. A fire crew member says shutting the door behind her was the one thing the house occupant did right, as this slowed the spread of the fire. Food from across the world was on the menu at what is now an annual event at the Southland Food Festival. Culinary flavours on offer had their origins in countries as diverse as Korea, Brazil, Jamaica and Colombia.
Hundreds turned up to sample tastes from across the world being cooked up at the ILT Stadium Southland for the annual Southland Food Festival. The flavoursome event serves as a celebration of New Zealand's Race Relations Day.
The event is all about coming together, celebrating the diversity of our Southland region. It's an event that's all kind of taste, that it's gonna burst your taste buds into a different experience.
The food festival was started by the Southland Multicultural Council several years ago, and each year sees a growing number of exotic cuisines on offer.
So we have Japanese food, Korean food, Malaysian food, Filipino food. We have Jamaican food, Kenyan food actually, which is good. We have some Kiribati food as well. So if you haven't tasted this type of food, it's about time for you.
In Invercargill, the South today.
Dunedin's popular steamer Basin pontoon will be retained for public use, following a U-turn by the Dunedin City Council. Late last week, the vessel Maya became the last long-term boat to leave the nearby marina, following plans by Port Otago to demolish the old wooden structure. The DCC says the council-owned wharf and pontoon will remain available for everyone to use. Vessels visiting the pontoon are limited to being there no more than 10 metres long, and is for pickups and drop-offs only. 7 decades on from the start of the Cold War, a remote part of southern New Zealand remains a key research area. Neewer's Lauder Atmospheric Research Station is set to celebrate 60 years of studying the skies. From its beginnings at the height of the Cold War to its present climate work, the Neewer Research Station in remote Lauder has been an essential part of global atmospheric research.
And it was intended as a sort of an end to the era of opposition within the Cold War and a new period of collaboration between East and West.
Atmospheric scientist Ben Lilly is one of the longest serving staff members who began working at the facility in 1993. Richard Quirrell is a more recent addition to the team at Lauder and says the historic site is part of a significant global network, conducting tests at their site as well as remotely controlling instruments in Antarctica, amongst other places.
We host instruments for colleagues from overseas, from Germany, from Japan, from the States. So it's very much in a collaborative spirit that we provide them kind of a service by hosting and making sure that everything runs, and then we're part of the science that comes out of it.
Dr. Quirrell says these days there's a team of 9 researchers and technicians on site, while Ben Lilly says it's come a long way from the days when it all began.
They drove around the South Island looking for the best place for auroral studies, which were a combination of visual observations of the aurora and magnetospheric measurements, radar measurements, etc.
Ben Lilly says the site became a receiving station as the satellite era began to develop in the late 60s and early 70s. At that time, you couldn't hold much data on board a satellite, so you needed a lot of stations around the world for downloading. These days, 60 years on, from a truck driving around Aotearoa looking for the best site, Dr. Quirrell says the facility at Lauder is state-of-the-art.
It is like a gem in the atmospheric kind of measurement community that probably people are familiar with Lauder and Lauder measurements, but they wouldn't have any idea that it's in the middle of like a small farm in like remote Otago. So that's kind of neat.
The scientists say the site at Lauder is a globally significant site because of the very low amount of man-made atmospheric pollution. In Lauder, the South Today. And still to come on the South Today, there's a court appearance for an Invercargill man who climbed a crane, and university students are given tips on fire survival. See you after the break.
All new episodes of Put Some Colour in Your Life are now screening on Channel 39. Take a look at Australian artists and the techniques they use in their studio. Put Some Colour in Your Life. Tuesdays, 7:30.
Ah, TV, our favourite babysitter. But it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Hi, it's Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. Our 3 stores have got a deal for you. We're going hard, we're going early, so we're going hard on the prices, 50% off, a great selection. Shorts, look at all these shorts. T-shirts, they're all half price. Check out all those tees along there. What about all these ones down here? Also at a great saving, 50% off. We're going hard, we're going early. Polo shirts, short sleeve shirts, there's such a variety.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
That's the Alex Campbell Menswear. Go hard, go early, summer sale. Don't miss this one.
Absolutely good time, you should come.
No mai anō, welcome back. A drunk man who got stuck after climbing a crane in central Invercargill told police he just wanted to get a better view of the city. Stephen Douglas Thompson was convicted after pleading guilty to a charge of unlawfully being in a yard in early March. Thompson scaled 2.5 metre wire gates and climbed up the boom of a large crane until he was about 20 metres above the ground. Emergency services had to retrieve Thompson using a nearby cherry picker. For that and a drunken incident 2 days later at a teenage girl's birthday party, Thompson was sentenced to 60 hours community service and 6 months supervision. Students going flatting for the first time face an array of new adult situations: how to budget, how to cohabitate and how to be fire-wise. Fire and Emergency New Zealand, or FENZ for short, have been on the Otago University campus offering survival tips to students. Imagine if your flat caught fire. Could you escape? Students and some university staff are being given the opportunity to test their skills. FENZ Dunedin crew member Izzy Priest-Forsyth says there are many ways first-time flatties can stay safe.
And we're just here to remind students the importance of fire safety in flatting, which includes, of course, smoke alarms. Knowing that you've got them, testing them is really important, although landlords should do it. Students, 100%, you should give it a go. Just a test button, press it, hold it down, and it should beep. And the other thing is, obviously, don't drink and fry.
Priest-Forsyth is one of the team helping people understand what it's like in a fire when you can't see and you need to stay low and out of the smoke.
But it teaches you to think about, if something happens in an emergency, how am I going to get out of my flat? Do you know the way out in the dark? If you have to crawl, if you have to get out in a hurry, What are your exits? Is it a window or is it a door?
Fire and Emergency NZ say, in general, students are acting more responsibly around fire. Priest Forsyth says some people have freaked out in the maze, but firefighters have strategies for keeping them calm. Esther Moore is one of those who tried out the maze.
Once you're in there with the heavy gear in the pitch black, your instincts kick in and it's quite scary. Just the claustrophobic feeling and thinking, if this was a real fire, how would I survive? And just imitating, that real scenario. It does make it quite real. There was just that split instinct of where the fear instinct kicked in, but getting out was a relief.
The event is part of the Otago University Students Association Flatting Week program, and OUSA spokesperson Michaela Waite-Harvey says the FENS team are amongst a group of organisations helping educate students.
It's great to have all of our community stakeholders here supporting us. I think it shows that everyone in the community wants to make sure that students know everything about flatting, all of their rights, and have as much information going into an interesting world of flatting for the first time.
She says initiatives like this are teaching students well and are generally changing student behaviour towards more responsible decision making. In Dunedin, the South Today. And after the break on the South Today, there's a lunchtime shot in the arm for Queenstown businesses, and we have a look at your midweek weather. See you after the break.
Hey, what have you got?
Okay. Chicks World, party time, excellent.
Love it! Chicks World!
Chicks World! If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Hi, it's Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. Our 3 stores have got a deal for you. We're going hard, we're going early, so we've gone hard on the prices, 50% off, a great selection. Shorts, look at all these shorts. T-shirts, they're all half price. Check out all those tees along there. What about all these ones down here? Also at a great saving, 50% off. We're going hard, we're going early. Polo shirts, short sleeve shirts, there's such a variety.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
It's the Alex Campbell Menswear. Go hard, go early, summer sale. Don't miss this one.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Thanks for staying with us. The first long lunch in Queenstown was enjoyed by hundreds of people dining al fresco in the town's central mall. The event was designed to help stimulate hospitality businesses struggling with the COVID-19 pandemic.
A special performance by Queenstown Salsa was just some of the entertainment for about 300 people who lined central Queenstown's mall to enjoy the resort town's first long lunch. Restaurants moved their tables to the centre of the mall for the afternoon, serving special menus to diners. The event was created to help stimulate businesses which have been struggling over the past year. It's hoped the event will become an annual one and in time be extended throughout Queenstown's central business district. The long lunch also raised money for the Salvation Army. In Queenstown, the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Tiano tourism operators are hoping for a TransTasman bubble as they're feeling strong financial pressure. Cuisine from around the world collided in Invercargill over the weekend at an international food festival. Staff at the Global Atmospheric Research Station at Lauder celebrate an important milestone. Time now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's Otago Times. We welcome Mr. Hayden Meikle. Kia ora, Hayden, how are you doing?
Good evening, Daryl. Good, how are you?
Oh, good.
Good. Busy day after a long weekend, always lots happening. I guess dominated today by the big government announcement around housing and measures they believe will help slow, at least, the insane level of house rises and alleviate the crisis a little bit. So we're looking for local reaction, and we're talking to every man, woman and child we can find linked to the industry today. It's interesting, the reaction so far has been quite mixed, and we do have people saying they don't know if these measures are going to have a huge effect for first-time buyers, which is concerning to hear. That obviously is a big reason these changes are supposed to be coming in. People concerned rent's going to get hiked up, that landlords hit with extra taxes are going to hike up rents. We're waiting on the DCC and the QLDC, the two major councils in the region, to get back to us, because of course we're talking about two areas with a housing crisis. So lots and lots to look at and talk about the government's measures. So I look forward to reading our full package on page 1 later.
Surely building houses is the easy answer though.
Yeah, easy, but I guess is it that easy to get things built? There's a lot of building happening around this place, so we've got to get that infrastructure underway, don't we? So. Another nice wee yarn on a local kindergarten celebrating its 100 years. Lovely photo of a diverse bunch of kids, which is great. That'll go down well on page 1. Another very cool story involves Kia. As we all know, is extremely curious, cheeky birds, and these Kia are actually sort of hurting themselves in a way. They are disrupting the trapping efforts to trap stoats and ferrets, which of course affect Kia. They're so fascinated by what lies within the traps. The Kia themselves are actually getting in and disrupting these traps, and therefore trapping fewer ferrets and stoats, therefore endangering their own lives. So it probably says a little bit about the brain power of Kia. But anyway, so
curious but not very smart.
An interesting angle on Kia. And over in sport, there's only really one story today, and that's the great Aaron Smith. So Aaron Smith talking this week about the very big record he's about to break. He's about to become the most capped Highlander of all time. 154 caps for the Highlanders this weekend he will bring up, going past the equally great Ben Smith. So Aaron's talked a lot about looking back on his career, the highs and lows. He's a remarkable story, really. You know, the hairdresser from Manawatu that came south, we didn't know a lot about him at that time, and now sort of widely acknowledged as the best halfback in the world, and potentially will he be remembered as the greatest halfback in All Black history. Certainly right up there in the discussion for the greatest Highlander in history. So good yarn on sport, and all sorts of other yarns throughout the paper.
Excellent, all that and more. Time now for a look at tomorrow's weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with this evening's southern view, cranes ready for loading and unloading on a misty Dunedin day. Looking at the situation, high pressure west of the region is set to bring cloud and cooler temperatures tomorrow, but warmer days are on the way later in the week. Starting at the northwest of the South Island, the sun hides behind cloud at times for those over here. Westport and Greymouth are set to reach 19 degrees. Moving across to the northeast of Te Waiponamu, plan for a few clouds in Nelson with light to moderate winds and 21 degrees. Blenheim is due to be similar with a 20-degree high. Heading to Canterbury, a few welcome showers for Kaikoura as you head for 16 degrees. Christchurch and Ashburton are due to be similar and 15 degrees. Dropping down to the southern towns, expect a pretty solid cloud cover down here. The Catlins aims for 15, while Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore all head for 16 degrees. Looking at the central region, there are light winds. Light winds are also set to feature across this area, with clear skies and fine weather. 18 degrees for Wanaka, Queenstown and Alexandra, while Te Anau is due for 16 degrees and can expect light wind with some cloud. In the northern towns, cloudy skies on the coast but clear skies inland. Oamaru heads for 15 degrees, while Timaru is looking at going one better on 16. Light winds and fine weather for Twizel and Omarama, and are both set to reach 19 degrees. In Dunedin, best have your umbrella handy for some drizzle patches tonight, with moderate southerlies and an overnight low of 11 degrees. It'll be overcast and rather cold tomorrow, with a few light showers possible at times, with light easterly winds, a high of 15 and a low of 11. It'll be mostly cloudy but dry on Thursday, with fresh breezy northeasterlies, a high of 16 and a low of 12. And in Invercargill, showers clearing tonight with an overnight low of 9 degrees. It'll be cloudy with moderate cool southeasterlies tomorrow, with a high of 15 and a low of 9. Becoming fine and sunny on Thursday, with moderate, milder northerly winds developing, with a high of 18 and a low of 10. And that's almost all from the South Today team for this Tuesday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to OOTD.co.nz. We now leave you with a montage of some of the many musical acts from the Harbour Street Jazz and Blues Festival in Oamaru. The three-day entertainment festival entertained crowds in the historic precinct, as well as even the local steam train. Ka kite.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.